Hi, welcome to the Stitch TV show. I'm Lynn.
And I'm Pam. We're happy you're joining us today. The Stitch is an online quilting talk show, the perfect soundtrack for your sewing room. Join us for all of the things. Twice monthly talk shows, virtual stitch-ins, celebrity interviews, book clubs, and podcasts. You can learn more at thestitchtvshow.com.
Our show today is brought to you by QT Fabrics, and we have the ombre pop-ups from the Fat Quarter Gypsy on our, which honestly, thank you for sending this to us. They've been quite entertaining.
They are, yes.
We're having more fun with them.
I have dreams that we'll just turn it into a tiny trampoline at one point.
Oh, that'd be good. Oh, maybe
no, that was fun. Not as exciting.
No. I'm kind of disappointed.
We'll fix that in post.
Yeah, right. That'll quilt out.
We won't fix that at all in post. But thank you, QT.
We don't fix anything in post. Let's just be honest.
We don't.
We don't. You see all of it. So today we're going to be talking about low volume quilts and the basics of bag making. We are joined by my quilt, which is not correct in the teleprompter, but this is a log cabin quilt that I made for my sister's wedding that I had leftover blocks, so I made my... She got a quilt.
She's not here.
No.
Angie?
Is
she going to pop out? We have a surprise guest?
No. I already talked to her and Lily this morning, and they FaceTimed me. But that is the only thing that interrupts my life. Lily calls, and you talk to Lily, so, that's important. But I had leftover blocks, because originally I was trying to make a king-size quilt, and they said, we don't have a king-size bed. And I was like, okay.
But you could make a really big fort.
So I made a queen-size quilt and gave it to him. And these were leftover blocks, so I put them together for myself.
Hooray.
And it's a very comfortable couch quilt in our house. This is the summer couch quilt compared to
the minky back.
The minky back winter couch quilt.
Yes.
So, anyway.
So,
what's up?
What's up? I have a quilt in Grand Rapids AQS show.
I'm so excited because that's a great quilt. That is so...
Because a lot of people commented and said I should enter it. And
she did.
And I did.
You entered it in more than one show too, right?
I did. I entered it in AQS Virginia Beach as well.
So
I will learn about whether it gets in there, I think, in probably 6 weeks. At a different timeline.
Right.
But pro tip, when you enter anything in an AQS show, you cannot do it through a mobile phone or a Mac device. You have to use a PC or else your pictures won't upload. And then they send you a note that says, hi, we don't have any pictures for your quilt, so that'll be $5 if you want us to attach them.
Which, that's kind of dodgy a little.
Well,
I get it.
I get it.
I'm
not going to begrudge anyone for having a business model. So
right.
There you go.
Yeah.
So it's in, and I need to do the old official respondy thing and be like, yes, please.
I entered Bonkers into the Houston Quilt Show.
The festival?
The
International Quilt Festival?
Yes. So, and I don't find out until July. So I'm not sure when that, so we'll see on that one.
We'll see. We'll have...
And Transform. I entered
Instagrams.
Bonkers and Transform, actually, which is our quilt.
Yes, it is.
So, with 2 other people. I always want to give them credit, too, because they did a lot of work.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Exactly. So.
Hooray.
Hooray for us.
None of the quilts we have discussed are low-volume quilts, though.
No.
No, mine is definitely not.
No.
It's Irish disco.
Not at all.
Okay.
So.
Low volume.
Low volume. I actually looked up the definition of low volume quilt or fabric.
I made up my own.
So it is any fabric that read as light fabrics, but have this at the same time have a secondary design on them. So they're reading as a light fabric, but they'll have a secondary design in the print.
So it could be tonal.
It could be tonal, but it doesn't have to be. And probably one of the most historically what we would consider low volume is what they called shirtings in the 1800s. So these are samples of reproduction of 1800 shirtings.
Now, were shirtings used only for shirts?
I don't know that. I mean, I know they were used for shirts.
Well, yes.
But I don't know that they
and
were
also
only...
quilts. They were quiltings.
Yeah, there were quiltings and shirtings and dressings. I'm sure they were used in dresses, too.
You sure that wasn't stuffings? We have a big debate about stuffing versus dressing, and it always resolves with stovetop.
There's no resolution with stovetop, though.
There
That's
is.
only
It's
in
called,
overhead.
the resolution is pumpkin pie.
So,
U.S.
so
Thanksgiving is a
anyway,
thing.
these are reproductions of 1800s fabrics, and these are all shirtings, and these would all be considered low volume in that even though it's a light fabric, but they have a secondary design and they have color on them. Like, this has got pink and some kind of olive green.
I will say this one got me excited because I thought, oh, look, a shirting with tiny flamingos.
And
it's not flamingos.
really
it's little
paisleys.
But
yeah,
it could
so
be flamingos.
paisleys and dots. Squiggles, little flowers.
I think those are ditzy prints. Is that what they're referred to?
I think that's right.
I knew a thing.
She knows
Mostly
lots of
from my
things.
exposure to 1980s calico when I was
lots of things.
seeking interesting
I
fabric
like this one. I like the
to
little...
make peg leg pants out of.
But so we've been doing low volume fabrics for a long time.
Yes.
Right?
We, the royal
collective
we in the quilting community, yes.
So I would say today's, like a lot of today's low volume is like our text prints. Where we're putting text on all the fabrics now.
Now, is there a percentage, because, I like to be specific, like the tonal or secondary design should not be more than X% of the surface area of
I don't know
print.
that. That would be an engineering question.
That's why I'm asking it.
I think it's just got to read that way from a distance, or read that it's a light fabric. Even though it's got a secondary design on it, it's still a light fabric.
So even if you had a black background with 85% white on it, it would not be considered officially low volume because the background is black. It has to be a light colored background.
I think that would be a good definition. Yeah. Kind of thing. I love text prints. This was easy for me to pull these.
Yes.
But they're very useful. Low volume prints are very useful for backgrounds in any quilt. And I, of course, don't believe that you have to, like if you're making an 1800s reproduction quilt, use 1800s reproduction fabric. But that fabric can be used in any type of quilt. It doesn't have to limit itself to that. So they're very useful for backgrounds, and honestly, they're great to collect. If you're going...
Most fabric is.
Yes, exactly. They're great to collect and have on hand if you are a scrap quilter or you're attracted to scrappy quilts. I think Bonnie Hunter's quilts, these would go in anything Bonnie Hunter puts out because that's her jam, and she's really good at that. So, but also other people are Bonnie Hunter's just an example, but a lot of, like, these are all low volume. The centers are low volume, not the green and reds. Those are not low volume, but the others are all low volume because it's a light print with a secondary design on it. So, what was your made up definition? Let's see.
That similar, but you can have a low volume quilt if you have values in a color, not necessarily neutral, that are similar. So if you had 50 Shades of Grey.
You mean like this?
Potentially, but not as weird and dramatic. But like this, I think, could read as low volume, although I think the yellow stands out a little more.
Yeah. So what I did here was I wanted to study color a little bit. So I took all the different like backgrounds and a variety of shades of gray, and then I added the exact same print to each one to show the difference, that the ones in the middle are probably low volume and then there's not a lot of change in the value of the colors compared to on solid white or solid black kind of thing. And these are the warm colors. And then I couldn't stop there.
Of course not. Because she knew I would yell at her if there wasn't some kind of blue or teal.
There you go. So I did that. So this will show, like these, again, read closer in color.
Mm-hmm.
They're not as stark or dramatic as your white and black are. And it's what you're attracted to. It's what you're going for. So I think this is a neat, these are just, softer.
Threads.
Oh, they're threads.
Oh no, quilter's bling.
Quilter's bling on my stuff.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, that was my note, is that I have made quilts that I would consider low volume, but they are not all specifically neutral.
Right, exactly. I don't think they have to be neutral.
A blue range. Well, according to like the dictionary definition, but when have we ever followed those kind of rules?
Those are just suggestions.
They are.
They really are. I think if it reads a light fabric, and light is variable to what it's compared against.
True.
So, that I would say if you are out and you don't know, you're out shopping.
And you want to support a local quilt shop.
And you want to support, I think low volume fabrics are great to collect because they go with so many different things. They're very useful to have in your stash. If you just need a quick background for applique, these are great. If you need a quick background for you're looking to make a scrappy quilt, a collection of low volume scraps is definitely going to give you the drama that you will see, like even in this log cabin quilt.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but to make them stand out. Well, so in this one you've got low volume contrasted with a much different value.
Right. Yes.
What about low volume in that? That's all of the fabrics on there.
Well, that was, my Tumblr quilt that we had a few episodes ago. I think that's just, it's a very relaxing quilt.
It is.
Very soothing quilt.
But you have to know that if you put the effort into complicated piecing or patchwork design, it's not going to show up. Unless you go in with colored thread and use that.
Right. Oh, yeah. Definitely. I've done that.
Give it the old pop.
Yes. Thread can change the color of a quilt.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it really can, and fabric, but it's how much you're quilting too. That goes back to our argument of.
It's not an argument.
It's just a different approach.
Philosophy, where one of us is right and the other is not.
I know. I hate it when you're wrong. So, just because I like to sleep under cardboard,
because it doesn't happen. You don't sleep under cardboard. You just hang all that on the wall.
I do. I hang it all on the wall. Look, my walls are covered with quilts. My house stays warm. It's a way to keep the house warm. Well, you just cover it all with quilts.
Which is a whole other thing we could
tables,
talk about.
Warm walls. They're not cold.
Like quilts is architectural insulation.
Yes, that's right.
Tent makers.
I'm sure it is. Probably historically very true.
Hang tapestry. I mean, they used to hang tapestries up in castles to dampen the sound.
And to warm it up, so that the cold wouldn't leak through the stone. Mm-hmm. That's true. See how useful we are? Just, these are my own secret tapestries.
It's not a secret. Hey, internet. Spoiler alert. Lynn's got quilts.
Hanging on the wall. There's one hanging right there. There's one in front of us. There are two over here. Just saying. Not even including the one behind us. So, I keep staircases warm over railings. Tables stay warm. Put quilts on tables. Anyway.
It should really be a scientific study of the heat signature of the houses of quilters compared to those of non-quilters.
I really truly believe that no one coming into my house can ever be, I'm cold because I've got quilts. Like you can't be cold. I've got quilts.
Yeah.
You're covered.
I like how someone was saying like, oh, it's too warm to use quilts. I'm like, no, honey, that's why we have air conditioning in Georgia.
Exactly.
Like, no.
We just turn that puppy down, baby.
That is true.
So,
all right. Well, we are going to take a closer look at the old log cabin quilt behind us.
Yes. I don't think I named it.
No. Well, that's why we just called it Lynn's Log Cabin.
There you go.
And we'll be right back.
Hi, welcome back. Now we're going to talk about bags. Basics. Bag basics.
Yes. Preface. there could be an entire show similar to the stitch dedicated to bag making. So we are covering some highlights,
Right.
and we will revisit specific types of bags and techniques and all that in later shows.
Yes.
So if you were hoping to learn how to like sew your own suitcase, you're probably going to be disappointed.
Yeah.
But
You
we're going
will
to cover
be.
some of the basics,
Right.
and especially ways to kind of get into it that are not necessarily scary or intimidating.
Right.
So, starting points. What was the first bag-ish or bag type thing that you made?
I think, and this is probably an advanced one, but I think if you're just starting, a zipper bag is
Yes.
something you should start with.
What an amazing coincidence.
Yeah. But this advanced because I did a bunch of stitching on the outside of the bag that's not necessary, and added applique and stuff. But just a straight zipper bag, lined zipper bag, is a great place to start.
Now, I think one of the best introductory zipper bag tutorials is where this one came from. It's from Noodlehead, noodle-head.com. And this is a free tutorial. It's called the Open Wide. And what I like about it is that you can literally open it really wide. So it's great if you have
Hence the name.
knitting to tuck in there, any kind of, hand
Ooh, I
sewing
like it's
supplies.
orange.
I know. Well, it's before we really became a thing. But this one, there's not a lot of fanciness around it. You use interfacing to give it structure.
Right.
So it will stand up on its own. It's not completely floppy, although it's got a pretty soft hand compared to a structured handbag. But her tutorial is great because it gives you tips for like dealing with zipper ends, which can be not fun sometimes. It teaches you the basics of gussets, which is how you get kind of this boxed corner at the bottom. So we will have a link to that in the show notes for that tutorial. And she has instructions for like 3 different sizes, small, medium, large. So her site's great for really basic tutorials. And it's lots of pictures and very well explained. So yes, zipper pouches, a good
Zipper
starting
bags, great. And then you can go from, adding more interest to them by doing, more complicated stuff on the outside, adding applique, doing, of course, some embroidery on the bags, all that kind of fun stuff.
Yes, if you're in the South,
So-
feel free to go crazy with the monograms.
Exactly. It's a good every day is a good monogram day. Anyway, so zipper bags. And I like Atkinson's designs, and that's where I made a lot of my bags.
Okay. I have seen their quilt patterns, but I have
think that's the
not.
name of them. I'd have to go look.
Yeah, they're the ones
exactly.
that did the
Twin zip, and they have a twin zip pattern, and then they have a little some other various zipper patterns.
I think their
but
quilt
they're
patterns are like
very
Yellow Brick
well.
Road.
They're very well explained, very well designed. They're great patterns, kind of thing. This one, but once you get, like, I just made this myself. I didn't look at a pattern.
Yeah.
Slap you get the basics down, you can make your own. I think. You can. Do it.
And I will
We
say,
believe in you.
the difference in the perception of a handmade bag and a homemade bag are finishing details.
Right.
Because homemade stuff, that's like your 4th grade art class. Handmade is what you would want to sell on Etsy for $1 bajillion. So finishing details mean things like top stitching. So do you have your thingy handy? So in this particular sample, it's things like this line of stitching that's an 1/8 inch from the zipper. Because without this, it can look kind of floppy and weird. But when you put that on there, that helps give it a more professional finish. Things like adding trims to it, or making sure that your line of stitching on these kind of little details are consistent, and when you have to stitch over something, you're not wobbling all over the place. And that takes practice. It can be discouraging for people when they're starting out, that they think like,
Also, a thing to take into consideration too is when you're doing a handle, that anytime stitching shows the front and the back, your bobbin is going to match, so that a lot of times when we're piecing, I may be using white in the bobbin and something else and not use the same color. But when you are doing this kind of bag making, anytime a stitching might show, you're going to have a color that will match the background or the fabric or stand out against it.
Or it's a conscious choice.
Yeah,
because I have seen very successful bag designs where the handle's actually one color on one side and one on the other.
Yeah.
But being conscious about that thread color choice.
Exactly. Thread color choices kind of thing. This is called the Satellite Bag, and it is by So Sweetness, Sarah Lawson. She makes excellent videos as well as bag. And that's her thing. Like, all of her stuff is bags. But she teaches you how to do inset zippers, this is getting more complicated. And then you have also inset zipper in here. So, again, more complicated. This is interfaced as well as using a
soft and stable
stabilizer, which gives you like
a lot more body,
a lot of body, and holds its shape really well.
Yeah, it's an 1/8 inch thick foam, similar to automotive headliner. So if you're in a car and you look up and the ceiling's squishy, that kind of foam, but it's 1/8 inch. I think in headliner it's usually a 1/4 inch.
She makes excellent patterns, and I think that if you're looking for a good bag, you're going to be she does have some beginner stuff, but she also has more advanced intermediate. I would say this is an intermediate.
Yeah, I think what is the more complicated part is when you get to like this type of zipper and making sure your curve looks good.
Yeah.
And things like that.
Yeah, but fun bag. It didn't take too long to make. It took longer to cut everything out, kind of thing. And then the other thing I think to make your bags look more professional is get good hardware.
Yes.
And those are available at all kinds of stores. You can order them online, as well as you can order them through, I know So Sweetness, she has hardware available, but you can also get them at Michael's and Joann's and Hobby Lobby, some of the other box stores.
And I will say another good one for kind of this level of bag making, Annie Unrein at byannie.com.
Yes.
She does a lot of really great organizer patterns. So I have it's the equivalent of a 12 inch, it'll fit a 12 inch block, kind of flat. But it's got lots of extra holders and stuff, and it's meant to be a project tote. So it's got the same kind of like suitcase elastic that you would stretch across to secure your stuff, so when you pick the bag up, it doesn't all roll around down to the bottom.
Yeah.
I've done a travel organizer from her. She's got a great duffel pattern. So those are two for more advanced. Now, I will say, if you want to get more familiar with the basics, there is a book called The Bag Making Bible, which is very much it's very much technique oriented. There's projects in here, but this book is more helpful for things of like how to put in zippers, what are gussets, how do you do things like put these little extra corner pieces on and make sure everything lines up. And I've made bags from here, but what I find more helpful is like the first third to half of the book is just techniques, like here's what a gusset is, here's how to put in zippers, here's flaps and buckles and closures, because magnetic closures can be kind of weird if you're not used to thinking like, oh, it's like when you sew a snap in something for the first time and you inevitably sew one of the things in backwards and it won't snap because now you have two innies instead of an innie and an outie. Similar, you have that problem when you first put a magnetic closure on, you just put it on backwards. That's just something most beginning bag makers go through. So if you do that, don't feel bad.
Well, and I think you're going to go for, and not all bags are purses. Some of them are just like, this is a bag from All People Sew. And this is a reversible, oh, look, there's stuff in here. Yeah, it's a wine bag.
Surprise.
It's a wine bag.
Look at that.
The drawstrings. Very easy to make. Kind of thing.
It's harder to thread the drawstring through than it is to make the bag.
Than to do anything else. So true. But these are like really quick. There's no hardware in any of these. So these making bags like this, I think are great quick gifts for that, person you have to give
a hostess gift.
A hostess gift to, or something like that. These are great for that kind of stuff. So this has the handle for this goes in here, so you carry it like this. It's one of those open kind of. I've made 3 of these. These are so super easy, and I think it's 2.5 yards of fabric, and you're done. So it's not a lot of fabric. investment. Because some of these bags, there's...
Ooh, girl.
I will tell you, and this is one of the things I wanted to talk about. Let me show one other thing. So this is a wallet. You can also do wallets, which, again, the gamut of you can do with wallets. But I really like the So Many Creations. And she actually had a sample sent to us that was on the table for...
Paloma fabric.
Yeah, Paloma fabric.
The Diva wallet, I think it was.
So this is the mini Diva wallet, and I made it, and I posted this online. But it's a great design. It's not that hard. It's just you have to follow the steps, really. Bags have a lot of steps to them. And some of them are backwards in your head because, honestly, you turn everything inside out and sew it. And then they call it birthing the bag. And then, like, pull it through this big a space.
It's like pushing a watermelon through something the size of a grape. Like the miracle of life.
It is. It is. So, but this has 2 inset zippers, and then it's got this cool hardware. Again, you can order this stuff online. But, all right, so here's my question. So I posted this wallet, and now people who aren't quilters want to buy it. Like, do you sell your bags?
No.
And no, see,
my mom is the only one that I would really make a bag for. I have done bag commissions.
They're a lot of work.
Twice.
Yeah, it'll take you all day.
And one was the Weekender bag, or the Weekender tote from Amy Butler.
It took more than a weekend.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's meant to, like, hold enough stuff for a weekend. But I had done it on a commission. And then I had done it for my mom. And then I was like, this is not worth it. I will never make this again. And it's because it's so many steps. And that particular bag, it's got layers of Peltex, which is it's like an 1/8-inch thick pressed felt, essentially, where it's very stiff. It has that plus interfacing plus fabric. And there's the bag, the lining, the outer pocket, the end pockets, because you got to have some place to stick your bottle of wine. And it was like 16 layers going through my sewing machine at one time, and it was very difficult. So, like, that is a very advanced pattern, and you can't do it on a featherweight. Like, you need some industrial oomph in your machine
to go through all of those.
And you need a heavy needle and a lot of patience.
Jeans needle.
You got to not be upset when all the pins that you use to hold everything together scratch the bed of your sewing machine.
Right. Bags are, I like making bags, but I don't do it often. Yeah. Like, I do it. Okay, I have to pay him this. So I make a bag when my purse gets full and I'm tired of carrying it around, so I make a new purse. That's what I do.
And then half the stuff makes it to the new purse.
Right. I pick and choose. So then I've got all these old purses with, like, leftover purse stuff.
I just clean some out because, again, I've been, like, on a big clean out
and that's
thing.
when you find, like, gum that's 3 years old.
Oh, yeah. I found some old Trident.
I
found some weird old chapstick.
Yeah.
I found some old hand sanitizer.
Yes. Yep. Those are common that get left in.
Yeah.
So people ask me, and I'm like, okay.
No, don't do it. It'll take the joy out. If it's not a business that you want to start.
Right, exactly.
It can suck the joy.
Well, and then I look at it and go, wait a minute, just the materials in this is $25.
At least.
By the time you buy the hardware, the zippers, the interfacing, thread. And you need 2 different kinds of interfacing in this, thread, and then this used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different fabrics.
Even if you got a fat eighth.
And none of them were fat eighths.
So it's got to be fat quarters.
It'd be fat quarters.
So that's like $30 in fat quarters.
That's
right there.
$30
on the lower cost end.
Now, granted, you wouldn't have to use 10 different fabrics like I did. But it adds to the charm of what this is, though, too. If you're calculating all that up,
plus time,
I'm looking at this little wallet, $65, easy, with my time, and it took me all day because of cutting it out, and then you have to cut out all the interfacing, and you cut out all the fabric, and and then you're changing thread several different times to match the whatever. I just don't know that. I know people will go to Coach or like the big name Kate. I hate to say Kate Spain, who we lost this week. Spade, who we lost this week, but I don't know that. I think the general population who is not quilters or seamstress are going to look at that and go, I'm not paying $65 for a wallet that you made.
Yeah.
But they'll go pay $120 for a Coach wallet that there's thousands of. There's one of this. I don't know. I guess I'm kind of like, I just ignored those questions when people ask.
Yeah, I don't. I only will make that kind of stuff for like my mom.
You made me a wallet.
I did.
Because she loves me.
You got mommed in, grandfathered in.
I got This is the wallet she made me. I'm not going to give you all the details inside because this is my real wallet. Like
It's got
my credit card
in it.
Yeah, it's got stuff in it. Credit cards and checkbooks and stuff. But it's super cute.
At the time when we thought Lynn's purse was stolen.
My purse was stolen for months.
And then it returned.
And then, yeah, that was a weird story. I got a phone call from the local Taco Bell. I think we have your purse here. It was weird. Okay, we'll be in.
So there's lots of online tutorials.
Tons.
Both free and paid classes. Craftsy has a couple good classes. That's where Annie on Rhine has some of hers. So Sweetness has...
she does them individually. Like the satellite bag, she has a video that walks you through the thing.
Yeah. And
which is very helpful. I thought it was helpful.
Yeah, particularly as a beginner, if it's like new concepts and, even... As an experienced bag maker, sometimes I read things and I'm just like, what?
That was me with the satellite bag. Like I would read it and go, that doesn't make sense. And then I watched her do it and went, I got it.
Yeah.
So it's not like I had to sit down and watch the whole thing. It was just, I needed it just to go, oh, that's what she meant. And when I reread it, the instructions did make sense. It's just.
Sometimes translating verbal to
what
visual
it looks like. Yeah, visual.
Can be interesting. If you're, it's like having a podcast about quilting, trying to explain what quilts look like, but only through audio. A little challenging.
I would say it definitely is. So, anyway. But I think bags are great. I think I like the break of them. You know what I mean? Like, and we've talked about this before. Sometimes I've been making quilts so much, I'm like, I need to make something different.
Well, and I think, too...
it's nice. And I have a bad purse, and I needed a new purse.
Depending on the bag, lots of times you can make a bag or a wallet or a zipper pouch much faster than you could a quilt.
Oh, that's true.
And
especially some of the quilts I quilt, yeah.
Well,
that's very true.
You brought that on yourself.
That's very true, too. Those are all true statements. I can't argue with any of them. When you spend 100 hours quilting a quilt, there could be issues.
Yeah.
Yes.
And sometimes you can bring those things together where I have seen really gorgeous bags made with fabric that people have quilted. And you can use the soft and stable, that foam interfacing, as essentially the equivalent of batting, and do some really gorgeous quilting on that and have that be on your bag. So it's kind of a way to show off both things at the same time.
Oh, agree. Yeah. And monogram. And you can monogram. Girl. Come on, people. Monograms are awesome.
I don't need everybody knowing who I am just because I'm carrying around a bag. They're going to know I'm the crazy lady with the blue raccoon purse anyway. They don't need to know any more detail.
So my embroidery machine is right there that you can't see off camera. And I would say if you turned it on right now, there'd probably be 4 or 5 different monograms already pre-programmed in. For, as we need them.
Yeah.
So.
Good times.
Good times.
So are you a bag lady? Let us know. Leave a comment on our blog or on the YouTube episode. And that's all we have for this episode. Today's show is made possible by QT Fabrics. Learn more about their fun fabrics at qtfabrics.com. And who are we thanking?
Oh, we are thanking
Sorry, we had a teleprompter snafu.
77 Peaches Big Think Productions that help produce the stitch. And if you've enjoyed the show, please like, share, and subscribe.
The next virtual stitch-in is Friday, July 13th, which may be someone here on camera's birthday. What?
Are we having cake?
I don't know. Oh, I do want to make the cake again. Do you want to eat the cake again? The key lime cake? We may have a special guest joining us in the studio just for the cake. She's raising her hand right now.
And volunteering to make the cake.
Oh, well then, yes. She is invited.
Yes, she's coming. It will be a crowded stitch-in that day. It will be awesome.
It will. We may have an alternate location or something to fit all of us in.
There you go. That'd be great.
Anyway, that's going to be broadcast on our YouTubes. So our next book club episode is June 27th. We are going to be talking about books on quilting designs.
Oh, right. Good.
Surprise.
Yay.
So my podcast, You Have to Be a Square, will be out Fridays or Saturdays.
Whenever she posts
happening this week on iTunes or Google Play.
All those details and more can be found on our website, thestitchtvshow.com. Tune in next time for more quilting chat with friends.